What's up, everybody? It's Joe with J Blake Photo. I hope you're doing great and staying healthy. I'm here on vacation on the island of Maui, so I'm having a great time. And when I get back from this much needed vacation, I'll have some hopefully great shots and video to share with you. In this video, I want to talk not about gear. Today, I want to talk about something that's really close to me and that has been a part of my journey through most of my adult life, specifically the last few years, and specifically a condition that I have called adult ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I want to talk about how it impacts my ability to get things done, my photography, this channel, and a lot of the other things that really just are part of our day-to-day lives. ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder that's normally diagnosed in childhood, as it was for me. But it can last into adulthood, and 30 to 50% of those who are diagnosed as children have it as adults. There are other neurodevelopmental disorders like autism spectrum disorder, speech and communication disorders, dyspraxia and dyslexia, intellectual disabilities, and various other conditions that have come to be a part of the neurodivergent community and movement. Now, before I go any further, let me just put a disclaimer out there. I am not a doctor or a therapist or an expert of any kind. I'm just a member of this community. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 9 years old. And ADHD is currently the most widely studied mental disorder, and it affects over 90 million people globally. When I was a kid, I was observed and I was put on medication, but then through my teenage years, I went off the medication. I've seen video. I was a handful as a kid. I barely graduated from high school. And in my 20s, I got into a lot of trouble. Things like paying bills and making it to court dates were not really something that I was very good at. Renewing the registration or insurance on my car, not really things that I was very good at. So on a number of occasions, I got about this close to either being arrested or being in some serious trouble. But I was pretty fortunate. Most people with ADHD, about 50%, and even more so for males, end up either in jail or addicted to some sort of substance. I'm really, really fortunate that I didn't end up with either of those situations. And a big part of that is I had family who loved and supported me and smacked me around a little bit when I needed it. So you might ask, okay, well, what the heck does that have to do with photography? Well, it actually has a lot to do with being creative because, one of the things that I've really latched onto since my late 20s, and one of the things that I think actually kind of helped me stay relatively level in my ADHD, number one, was outlets for my anxiety and for my creativity. So ADHD is actually an executive function disorder, which means that the executive function portion of my brain, of people who have ADHD's brains, which is kind of the part that lets you, motivates you, pushes you to do things. It just doesn't work right with an ADHD brain. So I can spend 12 hours working on photos or videos, but I can't get my laundry done. I'm really bad at paying the water bill, things like that. So the first thing is having an outlet for some of that hyperactive hyperfocus. And for me, starting again in my late 20s, was photography. But a lot of other people use creativity to help direct their executive function issues with ADHD. There's a great YouTube channel about ADHD and about how to deal with day-to-day life with ADHD. I'm gonna link it down below. It's fantastic. She's awesome, and her videos have really helped me out. There's a huge community online helping people with ADHD kind of figure out how to do what it is that they're trying to do. But photography and videography, video editing and photo editing, has really been a huge positive in my life for the last 10 years in helping me direct that energy, that hyper focus on things. The second thing, and this is really, really important, is medication. About 2 years ago, I started on medication for my ADHD. I had been unmedicated since I was about 10 years old, and it made a huge difference in my life. I suddenly was able to do things that I wasn't able to do before. I was able to concentrate. I was able to really apply myself in a way that I was never able to before. It helped with my anxiety, and it really reduced my just bouncing from thing to thing to thing and let me sit and actually work on one thing. I know it sounds counterintuitive because with hyperactivity or hyperfocus, you end up just drilling into one thing. But the problem is that you can only drill into the things that give you dopamine, that make you feel like that's going to make you feel good. And so things that aren't super fun, like paying the bills or doing the laundry, you don't do them, and you're supposed to. So medication was huge. And next was therapy. I got with a psychiatrist, and I was referred to a behavioral therapist. And I meet with her still every week. And a lot of our conversations revolve around laundry, getting it done. That's kind of my bellwether. But another part of it are things like self-care. And for me, self-care is this YouTube channel. Self-care is riding my mountain bike. And this year in the spring, I made a change to my medication. I actually upped my dosage, and it took a while for me to really kind of get through that process and let that kind of take hold, but I feel like it's done an enormous job at helping me, and it's allowed me to focus more on even more things. So my laundry is done, I can get my chores done around the house, I can help my wife out a lot more, and I can plan vacations like this. Now that doesn't make everything easy for me, it doesn't make everything simple. There are still hard days, there are still days where hyper-focused on one task, hyper-fixated on a particular project that probably isn't the healthiest thing. And there are days where I wake up and I don't want to do anything. I just want to lay in bed and do nothing. I have no motivation to do anything. The medication helps with that a lot, and it helps me push forward. For me, creativity, photography, videography, YouTube, this YouTube channel, and the things that I do, they give me the boost that I need, right? They give me the good brain chemicals that I need. And sometimes I need those chemicals to just kind of ride through the hard days, to ride through the tougher stuff that I can't do without a little bit of help, without a little bit of a push. So while creativity and photography have really helped me in battling my ADHD, medication and therapy actually have a huge role to play in me working on myself and being a better person with my diagnosis. The downside is that even though I'm able to work on the things that I enjoy, I'm more successful in my work, I think I'm more level-headed. If things aren't right in front of me, I lose them. You know, whether it's object permanence, it's my keys, right? If my keys aren't right in front of me, I lose them. Unfortunately, it's the same way with relationships. I've lost touch with friends from high school, family members. When I moved away from San Diego, really, I'm really bad at keeping in touch with family. But sometimes, like if I get a call and someone leaves a voicemail, there have been times where that voicemail will sit for weeks before I have the motivation, before I have the happy brain chemicals to pick up the phone and call back. It's hard, and I don't like it. It's the worst thing about me. It's the thing I dislike the most about me, because I always want to be known as a dependable, intelligent person. This condition has caused me to others to seem like I'm off doing my own thing and I can't be reached. But the one thing that I've been able to kind of stay attached to is the creative aspects of my life. And that's been a part of my life since I was a kid. Before I picked up the first camera, I love drawing, I love painting, and that's pretty common with kids with ADHD. And fortunately, my parents really nourished that and really nurtured that and pushed it and pushed me. But it wasn't until I picked up a camera that I realized that this was what I really wanted to do, that this was a great creative outlet for me. I'm definitely not the only person with a neurodivergent condition who uses creativity or photography as an outlet. I want you to check out this kid's website. He's 13 years old. His name is Anthony Schmidt, and he uses photography as his outlet, and he uses actually model cars and creates these super lifelike scenes, shoots them on his phone. There's an awesome link down in the description to a full video that was done on him, and a link to his Instagram and to his website. Now Anthony has autism, but he doesn't let that keep him from being creative and doing fun things that he likes doing to get that outlet, right? And so it helps him create and express himself in that way, which I just think is super cool. So check out his video, and in the next video we'll be getting into regular gear and photography stuff. I'm actually going to be doing some shooting here, right down here at Black Rock here in Maui, and I'm super excited for that. So if you're into gear and the photography videos that I'm going to be doing here coming up, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, go ahead and hit the like button. If you just want to support a guy with adult ADHD who's trying to do photography on the side, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check me over on Instagram at jblakePhoto. Go ahead and check Anthony's stuff down below, and also the ADHD links that I have down there for YouTube. There's some really good resources there, especially for those who are undiagnosed, who aren't sure. Maybe you think you have it, and it is worthwhile to check. I will say that the one thing that I hate is people on social media saying, "Oh, I'm ADHD," or "Oh, I had an ADD moment." It's a real condition. If you think you have it, you should get tested. You should be on medication. You should be seeing a therapist. And if you don't act like you do, because it's not nice for those of us who do have it. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.